Welcome to Backline Banter, a good episode in store. Of course, the Premier League summary, as always, focusing on that second half of game week 34, and of course, doing the Liverpool experience along with a couple highlight rounds. If you haven't already, check out the YouTube channel Backline Banter. There's some good stuff going on there. And to be honest, that is where I'm spending more of my time than the podcast, but still trying to get a pod out a week. So enjoy. Do have to apologize for this one. Slightly late for about a few days. Oh well, it's still good, so enjoy. A massive game, Chelsea versus Arsenal. Sadly though, for Chelsea and for the Chelsea fans, they got absolutely battered. A 5-0 beating. Arsenal at home, completely dominant, taking their chances. And, I mean, there's no way better to put it than Arsenal just destroy them. So, fair enough to Arsenal and good on them. And really, they are cementing their spot in this title race, that's for sure. They've been up there, they've been competing with Man City, with Liverpool, and they had a bit of a shaky form to the start of 2024, but no, a little bit before that, just before the new year, a little bit shaky. It was, are we seeing Arsenal fall off? But they had a couple games, it was a bit, how are you going? But now they are on track, they are on fire. I mean, I don't know how many wins in a row that is, or games without losing in the Premier League, but it must be a lot, if we're taking away that Aston Villa game. And yeah, on fire, unreal. It is really good football to watch, I'll be honest. Liverpool fan, of course. It's a little bit painful to say that, especially when we've had some shaky results lately. But, you've got to give the plaudits to Arsenal. And yeah, the London derby absolutely smashed them 5-0. So what were my thoughts on the game? Well, I thought it was pretty solid, all in all. I thought both teams played decently well. And I know what you're saying, like, mate, it was 5-0. I don't think Chelsea played that well. Look, I don't think they were horrible. I do think, of course, they could have done better, but it just wasn't really their day. They had chances, on the break attacking, but just couldn't put any of them away. The goal scorers in that game, Trossard in the 4th minute, Ben White with the double in the 52nd minute and the 70th minute, and Kai Havertz also with a brace in the 57th minute and the 65th. So good on him. Kai Havertz doing pretty well at the moment in form, getting the goals. I think he could have had 3 or 4 at least, but, just missing the chances. But as long as he's taking some, the morale's high for him, so fair enough. And then, mate, Ben White, fair play. The 2 goals, I think before this game, he's only ever scored 2 goals in his career for Arsenal. Something like that. Maybe don't quote me, but to get a brace in this game, unreal. I mean, we may as well talk about the goals now. Like Trossard's, beautiful. I believe it was Odegaard that slipped him in and just bang through the keeper's legs and goal. Easy as you like. Then the Ben White's first goal, it was very shaky defending for Chelsea because, Arsenal have a corner, they play it short, and they don't even really have a man going out to those 2 men. They eventually did. I believe it was Mudryk that just started jogging up, but you got to have somebody there straight away to sprint into them. They just had too much space, played the passes, and then, you got to see the picture for this one. So the players on the top of the box, they played it short, played one pass, and then they cut it back for Declan Rice. And the space he is allowed to run in and have a shot is unreal. From just defending a corner, of course it went short, but how have they allowed so much space for Declan Rice? Like, you've got to at least have a man drop him back to cover that. And yeah, I mean, you see the pictures, it tells a story. So much space, he just runs into it, hits it, little deflection off the Chelsea defender, a decent block, and then falls in the path of Ben White. And he doesn't lash out at it, he doesn't blaze it at all. He just composed a striker finish, really, and curls it into the corner. So good on him. And Kai Havertz's first goal, I think it was taken pretty well. I don't remember exactly because the game did happen a couple days ago, but I remember it hit the top of the roof and yeah, beautiful finish. And Ben White's second goal, we got to talk about this one. I mean, did he mean to do it? Did he not? I mean, I know my opinion on this one. I don't think he meant to do it at all. And I was, talking to an Arsenal fan, a friend of mine, and he's like, yeah, there's no way. He's looking for that back post pass, and it just came off his foot a little bit wrong. It wasn't off the shin, but it was kind of like side of the leg. Very awkward, but it just did beautiful. The ball carried over into that corner, and I mean, if you're Ben White, you take that every day of the week, but it was definitely looking for those runners back post. But again, sublime play from Arsenal. Ben White isn't always that man who makes those runs, constantly, like a Trent Alexander-Arnold or a Robertson, you could say. But every, game about maybe 4 or 5 times, he just makes a darting run in there. And yeah, it was just good play. Arsenal play it back and then over to Ben White. And then that's where, had a bounce and then had that little volley of a cross and then it ended up going in. But, you take that. I believe the last game, Arsenal and Chelsea played each other. Mudryk got a bit lucky as well when he was chucking it across, but it went all the way into the goal. Caught Raya out a little bit, so maybe a bit of misfortune for Chelsea. Karma coming around, but, you take those every day of the week. And to be honest, if it didn't hit the back of the net and it was just slightly back, one of the Arsenal's running back post probably would have gotten it. So you can't complain. And then, yeah, Kai Havertz getting his second goal. I don't remember that one, but, that's the best thing when you're in a team scoring so many goals is, I don't remember that 5th goal. I don't remember Kai Havertz's second goal. It's so good rather than beating a team, 2-0 maybe. And it was like, oh, yeah, Ben White's goal was good and so was Trossard's. But, they're in great form. I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, you've got to be loving it. You're really pushing through the end and keeping the pressure on Man City, which I think they need to keep on doing because it's really the only way City might fumble it. It is constant pressure by Arsenal, playing very dominant football. And it will be interesting to see who wins out of those two because as of the time recording, the Everton-Liverpool game did happen, and I'll have a video at that pretty soon, probably the following day, and I'm going to record this one after that. Yeah, painful it is, but I mean, I got asked this question a fair bit, like, who would I rather win the league, Arsenal or Manchester City? Honestly, I don't really know. I don't mind, to be honest, because Arsenal, it's good that they, will win the Premier League title. It's good if they do win the Premier League title, haven't won it for ages, Arsenal fans. But then again, it is fun taking the mickey out of those fans as well, like, oh, good result, bottling it again 2 years in a row. But then again, on the Man City side of things, you think, oh, well, they won another league, 4 in a row now. They've won the last 6 titles out of 7 seasons. I don't know the stats, but it's something crazy. And yeah, you just think, oh yeah, City won it again. It's a bit boring. Of course, a very entertaining race up until the end. And I mean, it still is for Arsenal and City. But yeah, Liverpool dropping out, that bit painful, but not too sure who I would rather win the league. And I'll run you through the stats of this game, the main ones, the one that I like to focus on. So the possession stat, a little bit surprised on, to be honest. Arsenal, 44%, and Chelsea, 56%. So I would have thought Arsenal have a bit more of the ball, to be honest, especially at home, just playing it round and then attacking through. But it seems like Chelsea held it pretty nicely, not doing much, just playing it round the back and then trying to get forward. It gets intercepted. Then Arsenal do their play and then they attack. But I thought the main attacks for Chelsea was a bit of counter-attack and maybe those balls on the wide, balls on the wing. But, I didn't watch the whole game. Only watched the mini because it was a bit tricky. And I woke up and I'm like, I didn't watch the whole game, so, I'm just trying to a bit of an estimate of what I thought happened. But, the stats I thought they're a little bit surprising. And then, of course, as you expect, Arsenal dominant in the shots. 27 shots, 10 on target to Chelsea's 7 shots, 1 on target. So it just shows you when they had the ball, which it was pretty even. It was, 44-56, pretty even. They were just so much more clinical with it. And I mean, you can't complain with that, really. It's what games are about these days. And, well, not just these days, well, they always have been. If you can take your chances, you're more likely to win the game. And, I mean, prime example, I don't want to bring up Liverpool again, but Liverpool, dominant in the past fair few games, but they're just not clinical with their chances, and that's what cost them. And when Arsenal and Manchester City at the moment clinical with their chances, dominating, I mean, they're very, very difficult to beat them. So good on Arsenal. I thought a very good performance. You could say, though, for Chelsea, reason they lost, Cole Palmer not in the squad. Now, he was out due to illness, got the flu or something, so he was unable to play this game at the Emirates. But is Cole Palmer's influence on Chelsea that massive as when he doesn't play, Chelsea find it really hard to score? Of course, they find it hard to score in general, but this game here, they had 7 shots, 1 on target, but they had a fair few attacks in general, but were just unable to let the shot fly. So without Cole Palmer, is that really costing Chelsea? Because, of course, he is such a big star for the club, shining in this season. I mean, what a youngster he is. 20 goals in the Premier League, 9 assists maybe. I don't know. It's something crazy. He's absolutely shined in there. And why he's so good is because he's clinical. If someone like Nicholas Jackson was clinical, Mudryk was clinical, I don't reckon they'd have the same amount of goals, but they wouldn't be too far off it. And that's the main thing. And Cole Palmer's got that, doesn't miss a penalty, clinical. And then when he has the chance with the shot, more times than not, he does score. So just a bit of a thought there, it would have been interesting if Cole Palmer did play, but of course you can't just say, oh yeah, Chelsea fans, we were missing one player, our best player, that's why we lost 5-0. Well, no, it's an 11v11 team sport, and if you're missing one player, then it shouldn't matter that much. And I think if Cole Palmer did play, Arsenal still would have dominated, but maybe Chelsea get a goal or two, just because his attacking threat, his chances he creates, the chances he takes, unreal. So good on Arsenal winning 5-0 against Chelsea. Everton 2, Liverpool 0. A very difficult game, a very disappointing game, and really, you've got to say now, we've lost the Premier League. I don't see any way of us coming back and, snatching some results, because, maybe we can win our rest of the games in the Premier League, but it's will Arsenal, will Man City drop any points? I highly doubt it. Maybe once. Maybe they might lose a game, both of them once, but that's still not enough since, we lost against Palace, lost against Everton today in the Merseyside derby, and yeah, it's just very, very painful. I'll be completely honest with you. We've worked so hard the whole season in the Premier League, played sublimely. I think we've been... Well, at times, I think we've been the best team in the Premier League. We just haven't been able to finish it off, finish strong. And that's really what costs you. Because if you don't see a Premier League title out, well, you're not going to win it. And it was in our hands, I'd say, more than not in the Premier League title, that's for sure. Because I think we started so well the season and then, dropped a few points where I think... we definitely could have won, I remember that Luton Liverpool game, just couldn't finish our chances. You got the Spurs Liverpool game where Diaz offside goal, but he wasn't. And I am reaching a little bit for anything I can think of. I reckon I'm going to do an episode once the Premier League's finished, where Liverpool messed up, where Liverpool lost the Premier League. Because, of course, this game here, a massive part of it. I can still hear the Everton fans singing, you lost the league at Goodison Park. Oh, that was painful, especially against the rivals, the derby as well. Disappointing, but, we're still here. We're still in the grind, of course. I'm still going to watch the rest of the games for Liverpool in all competitions. And when I say that, just the Premier League, because, knocked out of the Europa League, knocked out of the FA Cup, and now pretty much nail in the coffin, you've got to say, losing the Premier League. So it's been a pretty horrendous past month or two, I'd say. It just hasn't been flowing. And I mean, since that international break, us coming back, it really hasn't been the one. I mean, I've already got a short on it of me saying, what has happened after the international break. Something's wrong. The chances that we create, we're not putting them away, where, previous games in the season we were. So I'm not too sure. You got players like Mo Salah absolutely ghosting. I'll be completely honest. He did absolutely nothing in that game. And again, I love Mo Salah. I think he is one of the best Liverpool players of all time, and even Premier League forwarder of all time. Love him to bits, but recently, and especially this game, done absolutely nothing. Got hardly any touches, didn't create anything, didn't beat his man once, and legit, it felt like we were playing with 10 men because he just didn't get himself in the game. And, also Darwin Núñez as well. You got to say, what did he do in the game as well? I love him so much. I love all Liverpool players. You don't get that twisted. But recently, Darwin, he just hasn't been how he has been in the season. He's at the moment, it's seeming like he's reverted back to the first season because he hasn't scored in a fair few games. He hasn't really assisted in a fair few games. And he's still getting a little bit involved in the game, unlike Salah. Salah gets a lot more, blocked out on that right wing. But Darwin, as that central striker, more of the time, he is able to drop in and get the ball. But still, he didn't do that a lot. And then you expect him so much to get that ball, maybe turn and have a ping, outside of the box, just a wild one, absolutely lash out in it. And of course, sometimes they do just go over the bar or flying past wide, but at least he's putting in, a work and giving us a little bit of a chance to score. And it didn't fall for us today. Luis Diaz, I thought, he was okay. It wasn't too bad. I mean, me talking about the plays now, we may as well run through the lineup. So in goals, Alisson, I think he didn't have to do a lot really. I think it was solid. The 2 goals that they scored, Alisson couldn't have really done anything. I mean, the first Branthwaite goal, very unlucky they didn't save, but it is what it is. Then at right back, we have Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course. In the 2 centre-back role, Kanate and Virgil, and then left back Robertson. And I have seen a lot of criticism on Robertson's performance in the game. And I'm not going to lie, I don't see it. Because, of course, I watch the full 90. I always do with Liverpool games. But I've just seen a fair bit of criticism that's like, Robertson, dropped another stinker. I think it's his time to go. He's getting a bit old. But personally, I don't see that at all. I think he played a really good game. Yes, the stats don't look good for him. I think he maybe won 2 out of 10 duels, and with all the crosses he put in, it maybe got to his man 3 out of 12 times he crossed the ball. But I think he's still top quality. He gives us that good threat in attack, and he's a solid defender as well. Yes, it wasn't his best game today because, like they said, the deliveries just weren't hitting. And, I mean, I don't think he lost that many duels, but, yeah, it wasn't his best performance, but definitely wasn't his worst, and definitely doesn't deserve the response from some of the Liverpool fans saying it might be his time to go. So I'm not too sure about that one. And then Trent, he played okay. Good in attack, okay in defence, but it was a little bit tougher for him to get in the game as well, slotting in that midfield role or even running up the wing. And then two centre-backs, solid as always. I thought they played pretty decently. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, though, made it so hard for our centre-backs to, have a good game because he is so physical, and especially in the air, like he would just push the centre-back back, head it down, and he was unreal today, Calvert-Lewin. I'll be honest, absolute a nightmare to play against. And for Everton, how they do those long balls all the time, they need someone up there to cause problems, and he's exactly what Calvert-Lewin done. And, I mean, there was a fair few times, though, the referee, I thought, I'm not sure about that call. I think it was definitely on Everton's side today. Of course, if he was, neutral, like he wasn't the worst ref, but, that's definitely no excuse for us losing the game. But I thought definitely in that first half, just some very little contact on Everton, and he gives a foul. And then I saw us get a bit of contact on from Everton, but then we don't get a foul. So I thought, yeah, not too sure about that one, but what can you do? And then in the midfield, we had McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Curtis Jones. So I don't mind the midfield three, but I think Curtis Jones for Endo would have been a better three because McAllister, he is so good. I mean, we know that already, but when he has to play a little bit deeper because we don't have Endo in the team, I think it costs us a lot in attack because, I mean, you've seen the goals he scores. You've seen so many of the assists he's gotten, beautiful balls over the top, or just passing it to the right player. But he really just can't do that as much as he can when Endo's in the team because he's just got to sit that little bit deeper and be a little bit more defensive. So I don't think it was the best three we could have put out. Now, of course, Endo has been playing a lot lately, so maybe it was a bit of fatigue. Maybe he felt something, so Klopp thought, I might just put him on the bench, give him a rest. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm not questioning Klopp's decision because, I mean, he's the best manager I've ever seen, so it is what it is. And Szoboszlai, again, a player that I don't remember being on the ball much. When he did, I thought he was pretty good. Like, I think he's a very, very good player, Szoboszlai, but he does find himself missing in some games, that's for sure. And then Curtis Jones, again, nothing special from him. It was, a solid performance, that box-to-box player, but yeah, nothing out there. And I think that's what cost us in this game. Just no player was really stepping up to the table. I think as a whole team, we played decently well. Of course, we were dominant, but that's what you do expect from Liverpool. We just couldn't take our chances. And the front three, like I just said, Darwin Núñez, Mo Salah, and Luis Diaz. Now, personally, that is my favourite front three and my favourite attack for Liverpool. But recently, you've got to say, it's just not flowing. And I'm not too sure what it was. It seems to be after this international break, we've been a bit, how you going? And you got to try and work it together, but it just doesn't seem to be working. And it doesn't make it any easier when we don't have Diogo Jota or Cody Gakpo in the squad due to Jota getting a bit of a muscle injury against Fulham. He seems to be out for about 2 weeks, so it's nothing major. He should be back soon before the end of the season. And then Cody Gakpo, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was something to do with his partner maybe being pregnant, given labour, given birth, or she was sick, something like that. So, both unavailable. And again, it just didn't help us at all because we were missing, the attack, our chances. So we couldn't even bring any attackers off the bench. Like, of course, we brought Harvey Elliott on for Jones, a bit more attacking, but yeah, fresh legs would have helped a lot. And I mean, I think Salah had to come off in like the 60th minute for someone like Gakpo. I mean, Gakpo probably would have started if he was available, but, it just didn't go our way again. And, I say that a lot, but the game was definitely in our hands. And we just couldn't capitalize on it. So overall, I thought a good squad leading up to it. Of course, Jota and Gakpo, big misses, that's for sure, but we still should have done the job. So, like I've said, Everton winning 2-0. Their first goal, Branthwaite scores in the 34th minute, I believe. And, fair enough. It was a bit messy. I mean, like I've been saying, Everton are so crucial in the air. Like, that's pretty much how they play. Those long balls over the top, they set pieces, put him in the box, and it is so dangerous because you got blokes like Tarkowski, Calvert-Lewin, and even Branthwaite who get their head on it, and wow, it is lethal. And Tarkowski especially, I think he deserves a big mention in their win against Liverpool because in the air, absolutely unreal. Stopped Virgil from scoring, even bet Virgil when they had the corner, and just so solid in that defense. Nothing went past him. And there was a fair few times where we tried to put it across in the box or even play a ball over the top to someone like Nunez, but Tarkowski was having none of it and just heads it out. Like, he had a very, very solid performance. Fair play to him. And that's what caused us losing the first goal, really, you could say, because it was a set piece from him, I believe, and it just got whipped in, and Tarkowski got his head in it first, maybe. I don't know. I don't really remember. And after the game, honestly, I tried to put it in the back of my head and just be like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's not like we just lost the Premier League, but oh well, we move. And then, yeah, it falls for Branthwaite. He hits it, and Alisson so close to saving the ball, just goes underneath him. Like, he's diving down, of course, and it just goes underneath him, and it just gets through him. It takes a little skim off his ribs, I guess you could say. It spins the ball, it hits off the post and in. And so unlucky. I mean, they would have scored even if that didn't bounce off the post and go in, because Calvert-Lewin, so lethal, following it in, but it already crossed the line. So it is Branthwaite's goal, and, fair play to him. And Branthwaite this season has been unreal for Everton. Really one of, the best youngsters this season that has come up. You've got him, Palmer, Quansah, all those players, unreal. And I can definitely see him getting a big move in the summer, possibly to Man United, because I have seen a fair few links to him there. But it will be interesting to see where he goes and how much for, because he is a top quality player. And then, of course, for Everton's second goal, so painful. Their first corner of the game, and I'll be completely honest, I actually called this goal. I saw the fact come up, 8 corners to Liverpool to Everton's 1, and they were taking their first. And I'm just thinking, so lethal in the air. I bet you they'll score from this, put us 2-0 down, and make it very, very hard to come back, double as hard. And then the second goal for Everton, I actually called it. So they had the corner, and they even had the stats on the screen. 8 corners to Liverpool to Everton's 1, and they were taking their first one there. And I was thinking, and I even said, I bet you they score from this. I will put money on it. And they do. Whoever it was for Everton whipped it. Dwight McNeil whipped it in for Everton. Calvert-Lewin pretty much has a free jump and able to get his head on it. I mean, it's a beautiful headed finish, but when he's in that position, you do expect nothing less. Just Virgil unable to come back. I mean, he shouldn't have to cover that space. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold left lacking a little bit, to be honest. He just, went back, looked up, and he didn't even contest for it, really. And Calvert-Lewin, lethal finish, and deserved the goal, to be honest. But yeah, you see it coming from a mile away, you did. And it was just like, it's such, Liverpool fashion. You're dominating the game. They get a chance, and they finally, get a corner, and they score from their first one, where we've had 8 and really haven't made anything on it. Virgil got his head on 1 or 2 of them, but nothing fatal. And, that just shows how the game went, really. And we just couldn't come back. I mean, we couldn't score any chance, really. That's why, we lose 2-0. And you just got to move on, really. It is painful, but game's a game. And now you've got to say Liverpool have lost the Premier League. I know there's been a fair few episodes previous, Liverpool bottle the league or Liverpool have lost the Premier League. But now I think it's a nail in the coffin. That loss to Palace definitely hurt us, but I thought there is still a chance, a very slight chance that we win the title, but there's still a chance. But I think, following it up with a loss at Everton, I think, I think we've got no chance now and it's completely lost. I mean, I hope we do win our remaining games, try and give Klopp a nicer send out than it can be, but yeah, we'll just see what happens. And I think I'll wrap it up there. Maybe a bit of shorter Liverpool experience or highlight round than it usually is, but when we lose, it is difficult to talk on the game because it's just like so... man, so many chances. I could go on and on, but I'd just be repeating myself. So, Manchester United 4, Sheffield United 2. A very entertaining game, you've got to say. Man United getting over the line in the end, but a very close one indeed. I mean, they did win by 2 goals, but I don't think that tells enough of the story. So, Bogle for Sheffield United gives them the lead early on in the 35th minute. Then Harry Maguire slots a header in the 42nd. But in the second half, Ben Brenton Diaz scores in the 50th minute. But Fernandes replies in the 61st minute from the penalty spot and in the 81st minute, along with Højlund finishing it off in the 85th minute. So, intriguing game, you've got to say. If I was a Man United fan, I would be very worried. Of course, they did dominate. The ball had a lot more shots, but obviously that's what you expect from Manchester United. 72% possession to Sheffield's 28. They had 25 shots to Sheffield's 10, 13 on target to their 4. So, these are things you expect, especially Man United at home, but they still let in 2 goals. Like, Sheffield, at the time of recording this now, they are officially relegated from the Premier League. They just can't get enough points no matter what. So, a bit unlucky for them, but I mean, it's never really clicked for them. The football they've been playing hasn't been very good, sadly, but very difficult for them because such a low squad budget. Some of these players, are they Premier League level? I don't know, So it's always hard for a team coming up to stay up, and sadly, Sheffield haven't done it, but I think lately they're looking better. It's not horrible, but it's just not enough. And Manchester United, get the 3 points, but I don't know. It's just not really convincing, you've got to say, because Sheffield scoring first and then they level it 2-2. You just think Man United dominant, a 2-0 win, 4-0 win, whatever it may be, but you'd want them to keep the clean sheet, that's for sure. But they get the 3 points. That is all they need. And Bruno Fernandes, man of the match, I would agree with that, that's for sure. The 2 goals, playing well, an assist as well. And his form lately, he's been very good, fair enough. And Højlund ending an 8-game drought, I believe, 8 or 7. So, finally putting the ball in the back of the net. Honestly, reminds me a little bit of Nunez. He went on a very good scoring streak and then, went missing a fair few games. Now he scored, and before he went on his running streak, he was scoreless in a lot of games. But, of course, Nunez clear. I mean, there's not much need to be said about that. And yeah, a good 3 points for Man U, 4-2. Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. A result that you do see is 100% possible for Bournemouth, but you don't think they do it in this style at Wolves ground. They beat them, of course, 1-0. A good goal by Semenyo in the 37th minute, and they just keep holding on. They keep fighting, and even they go down to 10 men in the 79th minute with a Kirkes red card, but they stay strong, and fair enough to them. The backline solid, the keeper even better. Exactly what Bournemouth needed to do when they got that lead. And I mean, of course, they wanted to add on to it, but just unable to do that. So they stay solid at the back and they keep their lead, which you've got to say, it's fair enough to them. Of course, they didn't have a lot of the ball, but they're never a team that holds a lot of possession. 37% to Wolves, 63. But this is where it matters, the shots, the attacks, and if you're clinical or not, because they did have 21 shots, 6 on target to Wolves 15, 4 on target. So surprising, it was only a 1-goal game, including that it had more than 30 shots from both teams combined, but goalkeepers doing very well. Like Jose Sarr, 5 saves, Travers with 4, and again, defense solid from both teams, you got to say. Wolves, of course, a little bit less strong because conceding one of the goals, but a very good result for Bournemouth. And a big game, that's for sure, because they're both in and around each other in that table. And I believe the win put them above Wolves. So now they sit in 10th place with 48 points. And that win for Bournemouth, of course, crucial. They are absolutely flying. They are a very good team and sitting in 10th now with 48 points, 2 above Wolves, the same amount of points as Chelsea, 1 below West Ham. They are doing very well, you've got to say. Definitely the dark horse, I'd have to agree with that. Because, of course, no one thought they were going to get relegated, but I think they were going to be around that 15th, 14th area, but they've done one better and they're in mid-table, pushing for that 9th, 8th spot as well. So fair play to them, absolutely killing it, just getting the results they need, really. And honestly, they could have a fair few more points if they didn't lose games where you might expect them to win. But I suppose that is why they're mid-table, bit inconsistent. I mean, I think I say it every week, they're so good. But if they were consistent, they could be even higher, pushing for Europe. And I do believe that because, I mean, the plays they have, aren't exceptional. They aren't elite, but the way the team plays is very good. Of course, Solanke helped him out so much this season. Semenyo stepped up. Even Kluivert, I think he's been pretty good. And then the centre-back partnership with Senesi and Zarbagni, very, very good. So a squad where you look at and you think, they stay up in the Prem, 15th to 14th area, I think would be a good season for them, but they're in 10th, so exceptional by them. But for Wolves, another disappointing result, just not in the best form at the moment, really. They're winless in their last 7 games, one of them in an FA Cup against Coventry, but a loss to Villa expected, but they draw to Burnley, lose to West Ham at home, drew to Forest, lost to Arsenal at home, fair enough, and then lose to Bournemouth in this game. So not ideal for Gary O'Neill and the squad. Of course, players that were injured from him are coming back. Hwang's back in the team, Cunha's coming off the bench, but just not enough for Wolves, and they do lose 1-0. Good on the Cherries. Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle 0. What a result from Palace. Last week, of course, beating Liverpool, and they back it up with the Palace game. Mateta, what a man, scoring 2 goals in this game. He scored 2 goals last game, so actually they didn't back up the win after Liverpool. There was a game in between, but insane performance by them. Genuinely dominated Newcastle. I don't think Newcastle had much of a look in. It was pretty even ball-wise, but you'd think Newcastle would hold it a lot more, 47% possession to 53, so it's not looking too good for Newcastle. And then 20 shots, 7 on target to Newcastle's 7 shots, 2 on target. So Palace absolutely flying past them. They seem to get a little bit of boost at this end of the season. You know, they're looking not too shabby. 14th place, you know, 100% safe. There's no doubt about it. But 3 points behind Fulham. They're only 4 points behind Brighton in 12th. So in all respects, I think they've done okay. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to the video that I'm going to do when the Premier League season is all, you know, done and finished. I'll go through every team and rate their performance like in a tier list. You know, the categories might be, you know, elite season, oh my gosh, you know, then next one, outdid expectations, then, yeah, you know, they did all right as expected, then, you know, stinky season, and then absolutely horrible, you know, something like that. And I think that's going to be very good, very enjoyable. In Palace at the moment, I've got to say, yeah, it's all right season. You know, they could have been pushing higher up, I thought, but 14th is probably about where I predicted it. That also might be another video, looking through my predictions, because I did predict it. I'm not happy with my predictions because, you know, I was into the football at that point, but not in depth as I am now. So, but yeah, again, back to the Palace game. Love the waffle. 2-0 win. Mateta, insane. And yeah, Palace dominating. Newcastle, of course, you'd think they beat Palace, honestly. Of course, it's at Palace's ground. Makes it a bit more difficult, but you do think they've got to have a bit more of a look in. You know, Newcastle's squad looked pretty good. You know, Isak, Gordon, Barnes, Guimaraes, Anderson, Longstaff, Murphy, Craftshaw, Byrne, Dubravka. And then for Palace, you know, you got Mateta, of course, Eze, Ayew, Wharton, Hughes, Mitchell, Munoz, Klein, Anderson, Richards, and Henderson. So in my opinion, the Newcastle team having the better players. They also had Wilson coming off the bench. Good to see him coming back from injury. Same with Palace, having Elise back on, well, he's been playing, but I suppose he just needed a little bit of a rest. So on the bench, and wow, what a job by Newcastle. What a job by Palace, honestly. Fair play to him. Just getting some points, getting in good form. It could be, you know, getting used to how the manager plays, Glasner, but good on him. Brighton 0, Manchester City 4. Of course, I mean, what more do you expect, really? Manchester City flying past teams. Brighton not going to stand in their way. I thought there's a slight chance that maybe they fumble at this hurdle, you know, at the Amex, but not the case, of course. De Bruyne in the 17th minute, Foden in the 26th and the 34th, then Alvarez in the 62nd. I mean, you can probably tell by the sound of the voice, it's just a bit, oh yeah, you know, Manchester City won again, shock, you know, flying in colours, scoring goals for fun, you know, insane. Because it's a little bit boring, to be honest. I mean, of course, if you're a City fan, you're loving it. There's nothing better when your team scores goals. But I see that, and then I see my mighty team, the Reds, Liverpool, unable to convert chances that their goalkeeper Edison probably could score, you know, to tell you the truth. It's disappointing, that's for sure. And I mean, you might be able to tell a bit lately, and especially this episode, I'm very much energy lackluster, you could say. I'm kind of just waffling, not really thinking about it. Just I'm into it, but there's definitely that hope, that happiness, you could say, that has slightly lost because, Liverpool in the Premier League title race, I mean, if we take it even back further, a month and a bit ago, we were still on for the quadruple, still in the FA Cup, in the Europa League, Premier League, doing well on top, and now knocked out of the FA Cup, lost to the Europa League, and then pretty much, well, not pretty much, we've lost the Premier League because also at the time of filming this, the West Ham game happened. Of course, watched that. Oh, well. I was thinking of doing a highlight round on it. I might still, I don't really know, but it's just disappointing. And I feel like I just say the same thing week in, week out now with Liverpool. Oh, yeah, we played pretty well, but we missed our chances. Game's a game. Didn't get the result we wanted. And yeah, it's just not the best. I mean, what can you do, really? And it causes me to go on these tangents when we're talking about the Brighton City game. And oh, well. It's all right, though, because next week we'll be back better, stronger than ever. I just think this week, I don't know, it's just not up to standards. I'm definitely telling this episode's not the best, but I think getting something out is better than not. I think that's where a lot of creators, you could say, go wrong. They might film something, they might even edit it as well, but then they're like, I don't think it's too good. But oh well, on the grind, what can you do? And yeah, 4-0, easy as you like, really. Foden absolutely flying. What a man he is. Kyle Walker getting 2 assists in this game. Good on him. And then De Bruyne, Alvarez scoring goals. One thing I did see from this game, Alvarez was taking a lot of shots. Absolutely firing them. That's for sure. And he eventually did get his goal, but a bit of a loose cannon sometimes, you could say. I think Pep definitely would not be happy with that, him taking shots, not even testing the keeper, losing possession in that way, not the best. But, Manchester City looking very good. At the time of the recording, they're on 79 points, one behind Arsenal, but they've got a game in hand as well. So, they are absolutely loving it. And there's not much more to say, really. I mean, to be honest, this podcast is probably going to be a little bit shorter than normal, just because there's not a lot to talk about. A little mini game week, you could say, because it was a big double game week. But I thought, I don't know if I'll touch on that too much. But that seems all the games. You got the Arsenal-Chelsea one, the Liverpool-Everton, Man U-Chef, Crystal Palace-Newcastle, Man U-Sheffield. Oh, I've already said that one. Brighton-Man City. And then it goes to pretty much the next. So, fair enough. I suppose I may as well quickly just speak about the results at the start of the game week, you could say, because, bit of a double header. Brentford bet Luton 5-1. Goal scorers in that game: Wissa, 24th minute and the 45th plus 1st minute. Pinnock in the 62nd. Lewis Potter in the 64th. Shard in the 86th. And Berry in the 90th plus 2nd minute. And do I think that was an expected result? I do think so. I thought maybe a lot closer of a game, not 5-1, absolutely dominating. I mean, it was 5-0 up until the last minute of the game. But, of course, I thought the Brentford were getting the 3 points. And then a massive game here, Sheffield versus Burnley. Burnley win 4-1 away from home. Larson scores in the 38th minute. Assignon replies 2 minutes later, 40th minute, making it a 2-0 lead. In the second half, the first goal goes to Harmer in the 56th minute. Burnley then score the rest of the goals, winning 4-1. Foster in the 58th minute and Goodmanson in the 71st minute. So I think it is expected. Again, I didn't think it was going to be this many goals in it and Burnley getting 3 more than Sheffield, but I did think Burnley probably win. Then the Wolves-Arsenal game. Wolves losing 2-0 to Arsenal. I believe Trossard in the 45th minute and Odegaard in the 95th minute. I mean, just routine from Arsenal. What do you expect from them? Of course, for sure, you would have thought they'd get the 3 points, and they do. And then another big game in the relegation battle, Everton 2, Forest 0. Idrissa Gana Gueye in the 29th minute and Dwight McNeil in the 76th minute. And a lot of talking points in this one for sure. Nottingham Forest not happy one bit with the referees, with the VAR system, because they think they were robbed 3 goals. And to be honest, I didn't see any of their chances because, I mean, I've been on holiday, so I've been a bit more like relaxed, just chill. Still doing the pod and the YouTube every now and then, but not massively focused on it. But I did see the club statement tweeted out, and people seem to have got really mad, upset about what they said online and that. And I read it, and I thought, that's really not too bad. Yes, it's a bit, they sent a tweet out, a club statement. We would like to see the referees, but I don't think it's that bad, to be honest. If they think they've been hard done by, and, by the talks and the chats, they might have done, that might be the case. I don't think that it's that bad to say, we'd like to hear what the referees were saying. They were saying they think they should make it public for, the fans and the players to understand a bit better why you made those calls. And, I think it's fair enough. Because if you think you've been hard done by 3 times and you lose 2-0, so maybe you could have won the game, then of course you're not going to be happy with it. But I do understand, also the other side where, Premier League teams just don't do that. They get on with the job. But, I think speak your voice, especially in such a big game here. Definitely a chance where Forest could have got points, but just wasn't the one for them. And at the time of recording this one, they're only a point above Luton. So, it could be very costing for them. And then back to the other games at the start of this game week. We also had Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 1. I mean, of course, what you expect. Bournemouth, though, I thought played really well, especially in that first half. I thought they definitely did a lot better than people expected. At Villa Park, good on them. Solanke in the 31st minute scoring a pen, and then they nearly hold out to the end of the half, but Rodgers scores in the 45th minute, plus 1 minute added on. And then, Villa do finally get their goals. Diaby in the 57th minute and Bailey in the 78th minute. And they definitely had a better second half, that's for sure. But Bournemouth looked very good in the first half, in my opinion. Pretty close in terms of stats. Villa 15 shots, 5 on target, to Bournemouth 14 shots, 6 on target. But Villa's class, showing up in the end, getting the job done. Fair play to them. And then a massive game, goals galore, Crystal Palace 5, West Ham 2. And I don't remember what time this game started, in my time zone, but I do remember I was awake and, I wasn't watching it. I was just watching some YouTube maybe, I'm not too sure. And all of a sudden, I just, look at FootMob, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and ended up being 4-0 in the first 31 minutes. Absolutely unreal. Elise in the 7th, Eze in the 16th, Emerson in an Emerson own goal in the 20th minute, and then Mateta scoring in the 31st minute. Wow. Crystal Palace, absolute bowling at the moment. Winning against Liverpool, winning against West Ham, win against a team I spoke about previously that I don't remember. So fair play to them, destroying it. But West Ham trying to reply back. Antonio scores in the 40th minute. I love to see him on the score sheet, but Mateta in the 64th minute and a Henderson own goal in the 89th minute. Goals galore and fair play to Palace. I did see the Henderson own goal though. Wow, what a stinker. I mean, it doesn't matter one bit because Crystal Palace were up 5-1, but he just completely missed the ball with his touch and it went in the goal. And I mean, he definitely would not be happy with that. You know, they got the win, but still, you don't take that. And he would definitely be fuming with himself if that lost him the clean sheet. But it was already 5-1. To make it 5-2, didn't matter too much. But, you know, not comfortable for him. And then the last game I'm going to talk about in the episode, early on in the week, Fulham 1, Liverpool 3. Back to winning ways. It was nice to see. Trent's free kick. Unreal. Things of absolute dreams. Just what a finish. What a man he is. Inspirational. Love him to bits. But the Liverpool way, really. Dominant first half. A fair few shots. But Castagna equalises it in the 45th plus second minute. His first goal for Fulham. And I mean, it was taken well, but just not defended the best by Liverpool. And it was 1-1 at half time. And to be honest, I thought, oh well, we're seeing it again. You know, level. Are we going to come out second half and put some goals away to win this game? Or is it going to end as a draw or we possibly lose it? And I thought, of course, we can definitely win it. But how we've been playing at the moment, I thought, honestly, it probably ends as a draw. You know, we might score, but we might concede another one, or Fulham might score first, and maybe we get one back. But no, thankfully, Gravenberch with another banging goal outside of the box, takes it sublimely. His first goal in the Prem, I think. He scored a few goals in the Europa League and other competitions, maybe. Maybe it's just a Europa League. But I thought he played very well. His goal was phenomenal. And then Jota caps it off in the 72nd minute. So a good performance by us. But honestly, you've got to say, once again, it wasn't super convincing. As it was because of the performance. And, you know, putting 3 away, finally taking some chances. But if we deep it a little bit, Trent Alexander-Arnold's goals was a free kick. You know, a bit of magic by him. Gravenberch, a stunner outside of the box. A bit of magic from him. Jota's goal, I can't lie, I don't really remember. But I think his might have been from good play. But really, it's only one goal from good play. Like, yes, Gravenberch's took very well, and, you know, that's the finishes we need. But, I don't know, the play with Liverpool at the moment, with the midfielders linking up with the attackers, even the fullbacks linking up with the midfielders and attackers, it just doesn't really seem to be there at the moment. And, I mean, we saw again with the West Ham game, the Everton game. So, I don't know, but I'm going to call it there. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, a bit of a stinky episode, you could say. Definitely not the best, but I don't know, a little bit tough following some difficult results for Liverpool. But, oh well, you know, we're still there. And really, I just kind of want to focus on, you know, the things coming up, like Euros, even the Premier League season next season, and just try do more episodes on the channel that have good concept, you know, good editing, but we'll see. I'll still try to do a pod every week, but I promise you they will be better than this, more energetic, that's for sure. So if you did enjoy, you know, give me a follow, give me a listen, whatever you can do to support the podcast, be greatly appreciated. Once again, don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Backline Banter. Good stuff on there, and I'll see you later.